My wife's to Atlanta with my son, youngest son, granddaughter. Never even knew she had until she started. And that's what that doctor told her son. She could go till she's 30, 40 years old. Probably not, but eventually it's gonna stop. Took the rod in there and told her that in 4 to 6 weeks that she's cheerleader, that she could go back and cheer. She just couldn't do the stuff. I can remember people getting rods in their backs. When I first got married, and they would ride their back for a year.
Ronnie Darby didn't have it, but Ronnie did. I mean, Rodney did.
Okay, welcome everyone. I'm glad that we're all here and that everyone has survived Sally. I think Sally's still with us, so downtown in several places.
You got power yet?
Oh, yeah, I have power. In fact, I meant to call Sam because yesterday he told me that at the end of, the end of Wednesday, there were 4,500 people locally without power. But most, I think the great majority of those are now restored. We still have some areas that are out. We have some trees down, we have some power lines, there's still a problem. I don't know about transformers, but I know that transformers are an issue because it's hard to get them. But
We were out as news.
y'all still don't have it?
We know now, but we didn't have anything.
Well, we've got 700 Alabama Power people here. There's a whole city out at the old outlet mall.
They were out at Goodies last night, in that parking lot.
Well, they've been coming in for a couple of days. They're using our incubator parking lot. I welcome them and thank them for keeping the lights on. So good job. On the work session, our first item is the personnel considerations. Y'all should have all received from Mary a new chart that shows comparison, where the employee wage would be on the new scale and where it would be on the dollar scale. And then she also sent another, which is the full salary comparison options under current, what they're making, what 3.5% would be, what $1 would be, and what the new scale would be. So those are all, I mean, it's very, very thorough. Leading up to this, I just want to skip back a little bit and say that last week, or was it this week? Monday, Charles Andrews and I had a conference call with Mariah Tamblin of the governmental division at Auburn University, who are the ones that actually came in that we retained for the $27,000 to study and develop job descriptions for all of our jobs. They came in, just to summarize, they developed 39 job descriptions. And that was they interviewed all of our employees. They developed the qualifications, minimum qualifications needed for each job. They also developed equity factors for job evaluations. So when the job descriptions were done, there were 9 factors that were factored into those to support equity. That was knowledge required by the job, supervisory controls, job guidelines, job complexity, the job scope and effect, personal contacts required, purpose of contacts, physical demands of the job, and work environment. So the pay, final pay was determined on a number of factors. So, since Charles and I had the conversation, and it was quite a long conference call with Mariah, he came back and he said, I think we can simplify this. We're giving out, let's get down to the basics. What's the bottom line? And that is why you have these different attachments that you have now that actually simplify what the employees being paid now and what they would be paid under these different scenarios. The thing that I have gone back, and I've had 2 other conversations with Mariah since Charles and I spoke to her, and the bottom line to me is that we are the city of Monroeville. We want to treat everyone fairly. This whole exercise of this new pay scale is, if you look at it as a bottom line, is bringing us in compliance with all federal and state laws, which right now we are not in compliance with federal and state laws regarding our employee classifications. And so that is, to me, the bottom line. And I'm just going to go back a little bit and say that when I talked to her about this also, in 2012, when the pay was adjusted for police and fire, that in itself, since they are employees of the city of Monroeville, we, at that point, were treating one employee group differently from other employee groups. That is, bottom line, it's discriminatory. So that exercise, unless they are civil service certified, civil service employees, then if they were employed by the civil service, it would be different, but they're employed by the city of Monroeville. So that is, so I just want y'all to take that into consideration when you're looking at these different charts of where people would be and on what pay scale. And just, we've got to think not just for today, but we've got to think for the future for our city. What is the best for the city as we go down the road? What is going to limit our liability and what's going to keep us viable here with employment? So with that said, I would ask Charles, I don't know if you want to make a comment on this at this time.
As you go through and look at these scales, as you know, when you guys first presented, they gave you this long sheet that had 19 steps on there for each job classification. And that really didn't give you the bottom line. And so in this discussion that I had with Mayor Smith and Mary, I said you need to simplify it and get it down to one scale to show what the annual salary would be, so you could really make a comparison and get some determination of what the total cost would be to you. And when you look at this, anytime you go through to adjust these payments, you got to take into consideration when you adjust the salary, if it goes up, the percentage you pay the retirement system goes up also. Percentage that you pay in the FICA goes up also. So all those things have to be taken into consideration when you're looking at it. When it comes down to what happened in 2012, and what the mayor said was correct. I don't know who did pay adjustment, but according to the lady at Albany, you actually had to go to the state for exemptions to make pay adjustments for those firefighters and police officers. They have to be certified by the state. So, that is how they did it without going back and adjusting the other employees. Now, as you go through and you look at this, the way she explained it to me and the way I understand it is that you have a couple of options. You can, if you go by the proposed pay plan that Alden presented to you, In order for them to cover you from a civil standpoint, you have to adopt the whole plan. The other option is, if you go across the board and just give a flat pay adjustment, then you are in compliance, because, there's really no difference in what you pay in one person from another, whether it be a flat dollar amount or a flat percentage amount. And I think that's what the items there where it talks about 3.5% and $1, that is a flat pay adjustment across the board. Whereas if you go to a new pay scale, it's based off performance evaluations. And that have to be done by supervisors and passed up, reviewed, and signed off. And I'm not exactly sure. I think we touched on talking about performance evaluations and when the performance evaluations would actually take effect in order for the person to review, to receive a pay raise based on the job description and pay scale in the Auburn study. And so, Mary, I think you explained that even if you pass now it would be 2021 or was it 2022 that the performance evaluations.
I sent an email out to the council back in April discussing the phased approach to this, that we have to adopt the job descriptions first in order to effectively give performance evaluations, because the job descriptions haven't been updated since 2002 and are not in state or federal compliance with ADA concerns and knowledge and skills. And so by moving the job descriptions into a place where we can effectively give job performances and merit raises, then we can phase out our approach. We give the performance evaluations now, and then in the history of the city, every 2 years, we'll have 2 performance evaluations to then include merit increases every 2 years.
Yeah, I think the job description, that part of it was, it's up to date. It is that is in compliance with all federal and state laws, and it will also hold up in a court of law.
You've never gone over the job descriptions one by one, have you?
I think, Rhonda, you did, didn't you, Claire?
I sent the link out, the Dropbox link, to everybody to review the job description.
Discussion, though, we never went,
We never went job by job,
right,
with,
that was my question.
but I think it is something that, I think it is something that needs to be done, because we've got to get in compliance.
I don't understand where you're out of compliance. I mean, I don't understand. Is everybody, what you're saying is everybody's supposed to make the same amount of money?
No.
Regardless of what division they're in? or-
Mike, it just means that all employee groups are treated equitably. So if you go back and if you give one group of employees, you adjust their pay, but you don't adjust the pay of your other employees, then that is not equitable. You're not treating them equitably. If you raise one pay scale, you've got to raise, what I'm saying is, every.
So in 2012, they didn't really, the council really didn't change the way fire and police were paid. They just gave them a raise.
They changed their pay scale. They adjusted the minimum pay, like if
But
you're,
it was a permanent adjustment.
well, it's still there, yeah.
State law provides, is like in first responders, where you can actually go to, if they, in the case of police officers, they have to be post-certified. Those classifications that you talk about, they have to be post-certified. And like from the fire department, the individuals on there, they have to be certified through
The state fire.
the state
Okay.
also. And if they are certified, then you can go through and you can make that pay adjustment for them.
Well, all the cities, fire and police are required to be certified.
Certified.
They are.
So that was a legal adjustment.
Right, they're in compliance.
So that was a legal adjustment.
Yeah.
Is what Charles was saying, and I thought too,
Yeah.
because they were certified.
But according to this woman at Auburn, they would have to be civil service. In other words, they would have to take the civil service exam. That's what, and be certified through the civil service.
That's a new one, I don't know. I mean,
I'd like to see it, I'd like to see it in writing where it says that.
Well, I'll try to get it for you.
Okay.
But that brings us back to the basic issue of what y'all want to do with this. So I will sort of defer to Al and say, Al, what do you think about this whole issue with, if you look at the dollar raise, you look at the step raise, if you look at the whole classification, just like to hear from everybody.
Sure. And my thoughts are, everyone, especially Mary's done a lot of work on this, a lot of thoughts gone into it. I think we've got more work to be done. I don't think we have time to go through everything we need to go through before the budget's due to be turned in. I think the Auburn plan is workable. I think we can compromise and come to an agreement on it at some point, but it's got a lot more work to be done, both the pay scales and the job descriptions. So as a compromise, I would like to study that next year. And my thoughts are I would like to see a one-time pay adjustment for our employees for the upcoming year. Keep them on the existing pay scale until we hammer out the Auburn plan and get it where we want it to be. And then we can consider adopting a one-time pay adjustment, $2,088 per employee, and that's the equivalent of $1 an hour raise.
$1 an hour. And that's the one that she's.
No, it's not that one, though. It's just a one-time pay raise.
Like the Christmas deal,
Like
is
the
that what you're
supplement.
talking about?
Yeah, it's a one-time pay adjustment of $2,088, which is equivalent value of $1.
2008 per employee. So that would be your immediate.
That's my thought, yeah, to do that and then tackle the Auburn plan next year as we have time to dig into the details of it. Tweak it as we think it needs to be tweaked.
Larry? Are you any?
No.
Yeah, I think everybody here knows how I feel, but I can go along with the 2,088. It'd be a one-time pay, is that's right.
So we're to 1,000, I would be able to do.
So does that
That's for the
mean,
pay supplement.
does that mean?
Kind of like the Christmas bonus.
So by doing that, would you still be in compliance? By doing what?
If you gave everybody the equal amount, should be.
You will be, but you're not going to be in compliance on your job descriptions and qualifications, and you're not in compliance on that.
So that'd be a work.
we gonna do a bonus?
What we're proposing, what I proposed is a one-time bonus, not a bonus, but a one-time pay raise, is that the right term?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we can't call bonus.
2088 per year, I mean, per employee, I'm sorry, 2,000.
I like that.
Okay, Donna, do you have any other comments?
No, I like what you did.
Okay. And Larry, would
I'm in agreement.
By seeing this now in print and on paper in comparison, it looks more realistic with the new proposal of the Auburn thing. In fact, that there still are some people that would get substantially more percentage raise than others, but if that's what equalizes the situation, then the money is not going to be necessarily an issue because there's not much difference in dollar amounts there.
Not on the bottom line,
No.
but you got folks get $4,000-5,000 and somebody else gets nickel on the eye. And that ain't right. It's not equal.
But I'm not sure how, to get classifications, what it is we don't need to do two wrongs to make it right. That if the previous time was the wrong, then this is the right to equalize that part. I'm agreeing with the point that I still have questions about how it arrived, but after seeing this, I see it makes a lot more sense. Now, you came up with the idea of the dollar. we're not arbitrarily, that just sounded an easy thing to throw out at that time. Would 75 cents be more realistic this time to keep this number closer to the 3%, 3.5%, and then give us more room to do something in the future? I think that amount is maybe, well, obviously, it's pretty strong, but the fact that it's almost twice of what the 3.5%, which is a strong raise during these times.
So maybe you.
I would be more inclined of what you're saying, but not a dollar.
Well,
It's an arbitrary number of that. And then that's, a reason for that is because it's strictly the bottom line of 75,000, 150, that's definitely a dollar is twice. That's, by that number, you're giving them a 7% raise. And so, I mean, if we're looking at kicking the ball down the road a little bit, then we need to have room to kick the ball down the road a little bit. That's my only thing with that part of it. But I do, after looking at this and going over it and comparing, I do see what you're saying, but that's what the situation's saying about what the job classification is and what's required of them. We may have been paying some too much and some not enough. And equalization obviously proved that in the bottom line of the total amount.
So what do you suggest?
I'm suggesting that, I would be in agreement to compromise with them on the fact that after looking at this, I feel more comfortable with Auburn plan because of after actually seeing the comparison that on paper, but the money was the main thing on that. And I do agree with Larry on the point that there's some of them with more than, I think we ought to be a less amount than a dollar than 2,800. 2,800, 2,800.
75 cents if you annualize it, it'd be like 15, 16.
I'm saying something closer to the 3.5% raise. But that would give what y'all want. Everybody, the bottom gets the same as the top, that brings their amount up, and that's what you're looking at, you were proposing on that part.
yeah, I want the bottom line.
That goes away the percentage thing, but also keeps the money more in line with what a 3.5% raise would be. On the bottom. Understand what I'm going for there or not?
We need to vote today, right?
Safety.
Gotta have the red line first of October, right?
We're still
Put
accomplishing.
it down on my 6th grade level.
Well, I'm on my 6th grade level, I'm trying to get it down to my 6th grade level. If you did 3.5%, your total on the bottom is $75,000. Right here, the 3.5,
Not full salary.
the whole column all the way down,
Right.
bottom line, 75,000, that's 3.5%. If you went to a percentage of less than a dollar, money would be closer to this. You would still accomplish what you're talking about doing, is let the bottom person making the same amount of raise, not percentage raise, the amount raise closer to this amount right here. And that gives us more room to look at the other down the road. If we jump this up to this 151,000, we're looking at right off the bat, another FICA and state retirement. What are we, probably another $70,000, about another 25, 30%, isn't it? FICA and retirement, all the tax stuff thrown in. I mean, we're talking about it.
I know, go back over years again, what you said.
So what I was saying is keep our existing pay scale at this point, not change to Auburn or any other one, and just do a one-time pay adjustment.
And that's the same thing as someone's problem. I mean, you're getting that number based on $1 an hour, is what that
We're just trying to provide the equivalent without converting to new job descriptions yet, or new pay rates for everybody and that kind of thing.
But you based your $2,800 on coming up with the $1 an hour raise.
Well, what I said was 2,088, 2,088 is the equivalent of about $1.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's where you got that number from. So if it's 75 cents, you're still accomplishing the same thing what Larry's wanting to do, is let the bottom person get the same kind of raise up the scale as the top person, not percentage, just the same amount of raise up the scale, but a lesser amount than that.
So is yours to give them 75 cents an hour?
Well,
to give them the
multiply
one-time-
75 on the same calculation what you get for the 2,800.
Still a one-time though?
Yeah, that'd be fine.
What you're saying?
Not an hourly increase, just a one-time payment like this.
I mean, how bookkeeping does that work? You still divide it out over 12 months?
It'd be up to you all if you wanted to do, when we usually give the one-time pay raises at Christmas, we can do it that way, or if y'all wanted us to do it,
I think that should be a monthly thing.
just do a supplemental pay.
Well, the fact that it's not all at one time and then you're not getting it the rest of the year, this way here, you have it all year long and you basically need it.
And what amount to divide,
Just,
the 2,088?
26.
or that number, or if I said, do the same calculation you come up with on 75.
1560 is.
Yeah, okay. Do what he said there, it's basically $100-something a month.
So increase everyone's pay $80.31.
Well, now,
$80.31 a pay period.
you could be over 100, it said 1,500.
Oh, that one.
So I think I'm still get that bonus for Christmas.
No,
It would just be spread throughout the year, but we wouldn't do anything, we wouldn't do a one-time pay raise at Christmas, which is quote unquote a bonus, but we can't refer to them as bonuses. But if we could do a supplemental pay, and we could do 26 pay periods a year
That would be $60.
oh,
at
excuse
the
me.
56,
I was thinking-
but if you
I was
did the
thinking monthly.
2,088, it would be, and I mean, I can see the value in that, Al, is that it's not gonna, the dollar raise isn't going to affect 2 years from now, it's the one time,
One time.
it's not gonna affect the
It
retirement,
doesn't mess up what we're doing with Auburn and anything else.
the different pay scales, it's just,
At this time.
it's a good compromise.
Well, it could be something to buy time to study.
And I think that's, to me, that's what it is,
But I feel a lot better with it after looking at it this way than we did up to this
But I'd rather have the 2,088 at one time.
Yeah.
Because that way I feel like I'm getting something with $60, $80 or whatever. You're really not gonna see that much difference in your check.
And I'm sure they would like to see that.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I think that would be very fair. I mean, in light of this whole situation, I think that is a reasonable, and that gives y'all time to adopt the pay scale, and then the following year, you would have you would be in the step program, so that they would go up according to whatever that increment is. Right now, it's 3.5, 3.41, 1.14. Yeah, it's high, just like, yeah.
In essence, what it's doing is buying us time.
You could say that.
And showing our appreciation to them.
Exactly.
And Brenda, how do you,
Yeah,
are you good with that?
I'm fine with that. So,
Well, I think it is reasonable, and then we'll have time to go back and study more on the legal ramifications.
I am, they said they went to the interviews and did talk to Floyd. I still question why some of the amounts are that much difference, but, and there's reason for it.
Yeah.
As I said, one we may be overpaying it to a scale, and one we may be underpaying it to a scale.
Well, it's a complicated issue because they looked at minimum qualifications for each job. So if people with minimum qualifications, if a minimum qualification was a master's degree, and one minimum qualification was a high school degree, diploma, you can see that there's going to be differentials in the pay scale. I mean, it's a lot of different layers, but, yeah.
That's why I like something like this on paper more than the fact of merit raises, because how you and your supervisor get along sometimes may affect your merit raise a lot more than your actual job performance in some cases.
Yeah,
I know, I'm on that end of it.
Yeah. and it does give us
Yeah.
guidelines.
This buddy stuff.
But it makes it equitable so that all your employees are on the same page. That's all, that's why I'm advocating for it. And I do think that the city stands to have, if you adopt this pay scale, it's going to protect the city also. from lawsuits. So, bottom line, looking out for the interest of the city. Okay, so is this on the agenda to adopt? Okay, so we're gonna need a motion to,
I usually build a resolution for the one-time pay raises after the budget's been adopted, but if you all want.
oh, well, we can do that. So we're not adopting the budget until next.
Unless y'all are ready to adopt it. I'll have to change the amounts in the budget to include the variance,
This is our last meeting this month,
So
so
might as well go with it. I
You
don't
want
think it's,
to set a
I
special
think
meeting?
we, everybody's consensus necessarily not to.
What day?
I guess.
What day in October?
Well, our next meeting is the fifth, I
Yeah,
think, isn't it?
okay.
it's the first Tuesday of October.
So
We
it
can
has to
either
be-
adopt the budget October fifth, or we can adopt it today with these recommended changes.
October the
Your call.
fifth, is your time, it give you time to redo the budget.
I mean, that's gonna be simple enough.
Yeah, I think we'll be fine if we hold it over and adopt it on October fifth.
how many total
Six.
people would be involved?
We have 61 employees.
61.
Mhm.
Okay, do we have any other comments on that part of our agenda? Okay, thank you, and we'll move on to Public Works Director, Mike Lassiter. Mike Lassiter, y'all have been very busy. Thank you.
Doing a good job at it, too, being busy.
Yeah,
Doing a good job at being busy, too.
Thank you. I got 3 positions, labor positions that we had never filled. We've been using Pickle Mark. I'd like to go ahead and hire them, and if we, I could go ahead and get 2, just go ahead and hire 2 of them right now and wait the next spring and hire the 3rd one. But, I'd like to get them, I know you've been using Pickle Mark, but the thing about it, People Mart workers cannot drive our vehicles, they can't, actually legally, they can't even get on a 0 turn if it's on the right of way or something. Because our insurance. We have to have a valid driver's license just to get on a 0 turn or a tractor or something on the right of way. And, I'd like to hire at least 2 full-time workers back, labor.
I voted on the budget items for, and that added to that.
They were built into the budget, 2 were, the 3rd hasn't been built into it, but we built it. Are you declaring vacancies so we can advertise?
Yeah,
There's the advantage of having employees, the fact that we have some people leave from time to time. You have somebody else familiar with the
yeah.
that's what we get in out there with the temps. We have somebody leave, but sometimes they got a little training, sometimes they don't.
Well, I got 2 right now that's been with me all summer, and they're real good, and they're gonna fill out applications.
okay, so do we need to approve advertising for those 2 positions?
For 2 weeks, and then we can hire them on the 5th.
Okay, so we're gonna need a motion on that.
I do that, we have two laborers
Good.
positions.
Oh, I know, that's what I'm saying. We're gonna need a
Probably just
motion.
making the motion.
No, I'm just saying, we're gonna need a motion because it's not on the agenda. Exactly, yeah, okay, thank you. Okay, anything else, Michael?
They almost had the parking lot paved today, but the plant messed up and they had to quit. But hopefully Monday they'll be through the parking lot and they'll get Lex Street paved.
Right.
And we should have good weather, ain't coming no rain really. On this debris stuff, there's a lot of stuff that's gonna be a little bit bigger than what our size limit is. If it's all right, if it was blew down by the storm, can we go ahead, if they get it outside the road, we can go ahead and get it? Okay.
It would
Is
be
there
a
any
service.
documentation we need to do with that for FEMA or anything like that, we can come back and reimburse us?
Well, as long as we keep up with it, and I need to get back with Jeff and in the county and see how they're handling it, because we had a lot of road signs and stuff too that got damaged. this big sign up here by the post office blew clean off the post. So it'll probably be a week or so before I get a total cost on the sign, so we've been busy with cleanup right now. But, once I get all that, I need to get with Jeff next week and, see how they handling everything. Because the county has to meet a certain amount before they can get reimbursed, and, it just goes from federal to state and then down to county and into city, so we have to, more likely have to go through them to get reimbursed.
Thank you, Michael.
So to give the citizens adequate time to cut their trees up or whatever, you think maybe a 3-month waiver on that size requirement?
Probably a month,
Just 1 month?
yeah. I think everybody can, I've been looking around and the trees that are down, I think a month would be clean.
So if they
That
don't-
keeps it out in the, people say, oh, we got an opportunity here, yeah.
Let's cut our trees.
The only thing about it, we need to be careful that people don't get tree trimmers to come in and go ahead and cut some trees down,
Yeah. That still is our policy, if you have a professional
Yeah.
tree trimmer.
And another thing on our policy, the day we were cleaning up South Mount Pleasant, cleaning the gutter up, and when the guys got right past the house, the people that cut their grass come in there and blew every bit of it back out in the road. Well, I got the police to go around there and make them blow it back up in the yard and pile it up in the yard.
And that's a dangerous thing, especially with motorcycles and all, with those grass clippings and all so heavy being blown out in the road.
And that's one reason we have so much trouble with a lot of the drains around town. People blow the grass and the leaves out there in the ditches and in the road. And those little grates on on the street and in gutters, it don't take much to cover them up.
So Michael, supposing it take them more than a month to, cut the trees up and to put it.
It shouldn't, no more than what I've seen, it shouldn't take them, most people gonna have theirs cleaned up next week.
On Orchard Drive, I don't think they're gonna be ready.
Huh?
On Orchard Drive, have you been on Orchard Drive?
Yes, ma'am. They should be. I know that one lady contacted her insurance company, and her insurance company probably gonna pay for that because of what it damaged, and they'll pay for removal. So she should get it pretty fast.
Great, thanks, Michael. Y'all are doing a great job. We appreciate you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, next item, EDA Director, Darlene Thompson, property donation.
Yes. As many of you know, I've been working on a project, and the name of the project is Buzz, but what that is a meat processing center. And I have with me Dustin Kilgore. He is one of the partners that want to invest or start this business. And he will be joined by some others, and we've met Justin already once. And so they have an investor, so the project's moving forward quite rapidly. I met with the IDB board, and the IDB board has made a recommendation that we award or transfer the property that's over on the bypass, and it's on the map that I've provided for you. There's I don't know what shape that is, but there's a lot that comes out on the bypass, and then it has an arm that goes back over to Sheffield Road. And so that is the lot that they would like the city to move over to the IDB board, and the IDB board has agreed that to have this lease for like $1 a year for 99 years for the project. And so I'm just asking for you all to consider that. And Dustin's here to answer any questions that you might have about the facility.
Question in the lease thing, that was something I was to ask about, if we could do that. The fact that we have some recourse on the property, that if it gets vacated or foreclosed on, or any other possibilities of anything happening, we would not get back. It would be the board would get this back in their There was the ownership, or how would that be?
The IDB board would maintain the ownership until the city, until, if you needed it back, then they would transfer it back. In fact, I went to the courthouse and researched the deeds. And this property became city property through, Parsons and Whitmore, donation to the IDB board. And then I believe the IDB board must have, it doesn't show on the deed, but by the timing, I'm assuming this property was part of the Medline project when Medline was out there. And so it stayed in the IDB and from 2002 to 2006. And then it shows in 2007 that the IDB board moved it to the city of Monroeville. And that's where it's been. So the city really has no cost in that per se, because it was donated.
So the triangular piece is not included, that's another option, it's just that.
Those two right now are connected in the deed. That's the way it's recorded in both pieces of both pieces of property. So they don't necessarily need that space over there. We could have it surveyed and split it.
I think we need to, if that could be going on a Horny property, that would be a lot more beneficial to it than the other.
Okay,
If we need more parking space or anything else over there, we would have that.
okay. Well, I can get someone to survey it and get it split.
So
Is that gonna work for you guys, Dustin?
There's gonna be no advantage to them having that. That's right. But it would be advantage to us with any development with that property.
And I've talked to William Snyder, and he thinks that it would be better to come off of Sheffield Road over to there as far as sewage and water is concerned. He didn't want to do a tap in the roadway, in the bypass.
would their entrance be from Sheffield or the bypass?
There'll be an interest from the bypass, but we were also looking at either, they want a gravel road to Sheffield, am I right?
Yeah, the reason for that is the property don't have enough room, because what's gonna happen is dually trucks with cow trailers are gonna be coming into the building. And the best way for that to happen is for them to come in through the bypass and pull past the building back up to where the catch pins will be, and then be able to exit out through Sheffield Road. And really the best for that's gravel, but there'll be a parking lot in front. We will have a retail store. It'll be like a butcher shop type thing with beef and pork. And those customers will use the entrance off of the bypass, and they will exit the bypass as well. I mean, I guess they could go around, but it would be more beneficial for them just to use the entrance and exit from the bypass.
Once you receive the cows or whatever, how long do you expect them to be on tour?
Not long. What we prefer
Not
is,
like a day or 2 days?
yeah, a day or 2 days. What we prefer is them to be able to come that evening, drop them off, and they'll be slaughtered that morning. That's what you would prefer. Some people may come because right now people are traveling as far as Louisiana to get this done. So some people may have to come, 2 or 3 days, but we're not talking a week or 2 weeks. We're talking a day or 2. 3 at the most is what I would think. Because as soon as they get there, we want to kill them and get them hung in the cooler so that the meat's chilling, and there's a bunch of process you have to go through for E. coli and things like that. So we want to do that as quickly as possible. We don't want to feed the cows.
I would hope end the day and hanging today.
Yeah.
Now, I talked to Chipper about this transaction, and he said that we can simply approve the transfer of the property to the IDB. We're not gonna need a public hearing on this. So that, it's on the agenda to set a public hearing, but actually we're gonna need to change that just to approve a transfer of the property.
Anything the planning commission or anything else that needs to be addressed in this or not?
Well, the planning commission would have to approve the plan for the property.
Like the blueprints.
Yes, yes.
But it's zoned correctly.
It is
Yeah.
zoned. Mhm.
Zoning's not an issue.
How many, animals would you be set up to process a day?
We're probably looking at 4 or 5 would be what we could do, but starting out the first year, we'll probably target for 3 cows a day. Now hogs and pigs, things like that, you could do multiple, because a cow has to hang for 7 to 10, 12 days. A pig doesn't have to hang at all. You can just process them. They're similar to deer.
Do we have any other comments on this? Well, Dustin, congratulations. Sounds like a great business.
Thank you. And thank all of y'all.
Tim, oh, is he-
You know, again,
yeah, you guys can come in. Because we're not going to have a schedule. Basically.
They sold all of them out there. Yeah. They would need to do.
On the service station down south?
Jet hit, and now
Valero,
Guerrero.
I didn't even know.
Yeah, they bought out all of the jet hits, thing, they did, and all the way down the line. I say where I've seen where the jet hits now at Guerrero. But they asked if they need to do alcohol training.
Well, they have to get their own license.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
they need to be doing that.
Yeah. I remember for, Tim have to ask them. The jet pet, whatever, they just changed their name, but they have to come in and apply for their own alcohol license.
They sell beer, I know they do.
Okay, well, it's the same company that their gas is coming from a different place.
Oh,
The same ownership on the service station.
I believe it is, I'll check with,
Okay.
we've already kind of
That's
looked through
fine.
this because it's Mountain Oil. I think the name is just changing. It's the same people, the same tax people as it was before, but I'll double check it.
You know, the one in Bangor is Marathon.
They're all under the same,
Okay, I know that one changed.
it's Mountain State Oil.
it looks a lot nicer.
Yeah, sign looks good.
So, I've got an executive session for people in character.
you making a motion, or
Yes.
somebody needs to make a motion.
I'm making a motion to executive session. Second.
Donna, did you second?
But we don't see that. I got my pictures. With the council members check right on top of it. You go down Dennis Street. No. But anything that's stone blue down, that's what I was trying to do. But you don't need to give me a free man. We got a lot of stuff, they don't do a lot of stuff out. We don't haul about, we probably don't think about 30-something loads that run last few days. Yeah. Now, we got one tree over on Bronx. Those three trees that tree out, and they were talking to do a rain this season. We don't have to give this crap for the rest of the time. That's like, that tree, just in the tree and gone. That stuff is everything.
After hearing the motion tonight, the executive session, Linda secretary. And now we have our next item.
The Hornady building roof ripped. The roof didn't rip, it blew back from the edge.
Like we can get money from FEMA to fix that.
Back to get insurance company on this one.
I have a price from, I've had two people look at it this morning, and I got a price from, Hammer to Band-Aid it for $13,500.
I mean, that's just a temporary fix until we can get the roof fixed.
Right. The, so the roof pulled back with the gutter. The roof was replaced last time, but the roof didn't rip. The gutter ripped and part of the concrete block wall fell off.
This time or last?
Both times, but the last time the roof ripped because it was so corrupt. So if I understand how the roofing works right, they'll be able to put the roof back down with a couple of patches, but we have to rebuild the edge where the gutter hangs on.
Same area as last time. Same area of the roof as last time.
No, the opposite side of the building. But last time when the wind blew up underneath it, it pulled up the corner. This is one of the corners. So the roof is redone, but the gutter and the wood and the wall is what failed. So the roof membrane held, but the gutter wall fell.
Well, so our next step, first of all, we've got to approve the Band-Aid.
Yeah.
Because that will protect the contents.
Tenants,
Yeah, until we can actually get a plan to fix the roof.
right. And I guess we're doing the same, I don't know, I'll call the insurance person and follow the same process we did last time. I don't
think so.
expect it to be the same price as last time, but it's, I mean, Wayne Strength and I can pick up the gutter. It's pretty, that stuff is pretty heavy. So this is to pull the roof back with booms or whatever the word for that truck is. Then Michael Sawyer's got two, and I think all those to pull it back. It's a,
Low.
that's it.
So, so we're gonna need,
It's about 250 feet. It's pretty big.
so we're gonna need a motion to, what would you call it? Patch?
And we declare that an emergency repair. Patch.
So we need a motion on that. To approve the 13,000.
We don't have a cushion enough.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
don't.
our recommended, is still the contingency or cushion in each of these, or each of the.
Right now, we don't have, so we have to take it from whichever one.
Take your agenda. Tim, you got that?
So, Al, do you want to make that motion? Okay, thank you. And then, Tim, you're gonna talk to the insurance people.
Yep, I'll call them.
All right, so that's that. What's-
All right, so that's that. The Salt Street properties with Mr. Tucker, according to ordinance and state law, he had 30 days to submit a written proposal about how he wants to fix the buildings. On day 46, he wrote a note that said he wanted to tear the porch off and sell them, which doesn't jive with what it is. So I say the buildings stay condemned. That's my opinion on it.
We condemned them.
What building we talking about?
Those two houses on Saul Street next to,
57.
Oh, yeah,
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 Danielle.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I,
And I have photographs, I think we looked at the photographs
Yes.
before.
Yeah, then also people been hanging out there and the lady next door have. looked
Single
over-
mom.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, so they kind of feel for that, so.
So Brenda, that's a good issue.
so we don't have to tell a motion or anything, they're condemned, so we're.
Correct.
We're
I just am saying we haven't, he hasn't.
Okay,
Okay, and the next two items to just discuss, to get on your radar, is there is a new development, a new business going in south of Walmart, off of Highway 21. They're going to access it from Highway 21 and come out in the Walmart turnout where the red light is.
know what that last vacant lot right here?
No,
By the
sir.
bank?
No, sir.
Okay.
In the cotton field.
Okay, got you.
And they would like to pursue being annexed into the city.
Do we have
that's
a
no problem.
Yep. We don't have it in writing yet, I just am putting it in your radar so when it pops up.
Yeah.
That's a good thing,
you'll
yeah,
know what we're talking about.
okay.
And then the last thing is, the same thing. If I said Hyacinth Road and Tulip Drive, you know where that is?
Hyacinth Road and Tulip Drive,
Over here.
in the flower streets.
Flower Street. There is a lady who is buying, several of the properties over there. She has asked about vacating the designated street areas. Run out, anyway. That's Mayfield, and the city has the right of way to 3 streets which are in yellow. And the lady is buying all of this right here, and she's asked if we will vacate that section that has the name, I'm calling it Hyacinth Extension. And the question is, should we go ahead and vacate all of that property back to the owners?
If she probably leaves, there's still maybe want something happen there.
The same person owns all of that. These houses are off of this street. This person owns that, that, and that. This person has that little corner right there.
Is there any disadvantage for us to not do it at this time? I mean, I don't see no problem vacating that one. The contingency of that.
And then over there, over
But she
there.
won't, she won't too. No, she would like this parcel right here.
Well, it's all.
But all is here, yeah.
Yep.
Does this part go to?
Yep, she's buying this, and this are all owned by the same person. She wants to buy all that, but she wants to have that also.
When you say you want, when you say you want to have that, what is that you talking about?
Okay, so he's talking about this section right here.
Mhm.
So the same person owns this, and this. And if somebody wants to buy all
Well,
that,
she don't buy all
then
that, but that street,
but she would like to have this vacated
Just a field.
and given back.
Right, right.
It's just a right of way.
Give it back to the front door?
So in 1963, this neighborhood was cut out and those streets designated. They're fully grown with trees right now. I don't think we have any plans to put an asphalt road down there.
So it's a dirt road right here?
No, there's no road.
You know,
It's trees.
It's just,
It was
it's just
just
reserved.
designated originally.
Right away. Right away.
okay, but it's nothing there. Okay. Okay.
That way, there won't be division between her property and.
You don't want it all.
Yeah, when she puts a fence down, she,
Okay.
and that, the fence part is what made me think about the other property, getting rid of the other two. Because they're only 4 landowners and they own it all. And when she puts a fence up, she might as well put it up on the one time instead of losing 10 feet. But that's y'all's decision. The way that process works is they have to file a motion to ask to vacate it. Then we have to agree, then they have to file the paperwork at probate court.
Don't see much reason to do any more than that one area.
Me neither.
Okay. I mean, okay.
So we'll still set a public hearing to vacate it, okay, or just Hyacinth, okay.
The extension.
Yeah.
Yeah, I call it
I'm
high
sorry.
extension.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Tim. Tim, do you have anything else?
That's it.
Okay, thank you. Okay, only a couple of other things. I want to say, first of all, that we have had some nice comments from some of the residents about our new lighting in the Crow Avenue area, and the other areas that we have improved the lighting in, which is Mason Loop and Dixon Loop. And I talked to our housing authority director, and she said that she has heard from residents that they are very pleased with that. And so I relayed that to Sam Schott, our Alabama Power representative, and he called me and said that Alabama Power has a new public safety program, and that they have a specialist in public safety, and he would like to set up a Zoom meeting for us to discuss some of their new enhancements. So I thought I would get Sam to set that up for us sometime next week, and get Charles Andrews as our new mayor to participate in that, so we can see what is available and then bring it back to the council. Because I think they have some good programs where you can get cameras, and there's a lot of really good technological advances that have been made in public safety, which may help our city.
That's great.
Yeah. So, Charles, if you're okay with that, we'll pursue it. We're gonna let Sam get through the storm, and then we'll take that on. That's really, I don't know that I have anything else.
We got to set public hearing to rename.
Well, it's on the agenda.
Oh. I
Yeah,
forgot.
we do
I'm
have,
sorry.
yeah, it's on
I'm
the
sorry, I'm ahead.
we have a, request to rename, I think we talked about this in a previous session, but to rename Pickens Street Rosenwald and Rosenwald Pickens. I talked to, the Board of Education, because they're on there as being part ownership of that street. And also I talked to Sonia Stinson, and the county and the Board of Education look at it as a city street. They are like, whatever y'all want to do. So we'll still have to set a public hearing to do it, but it shouldn't.
Two questions. in
Yeah.
that. Well, one is, who is the Pickens Street named for?
It's named for
I
a
have no
former,
clue.
is it a former superintendent? Do you know?
I don't
Mike?
I just wondered if it was our former, fire chief or not.
I think that,
Mr. Wheeler.
I don't know.
I mean, to some extent of who it originally was named for, may have some
The
questions
fire
and changes.
that's the one,
Yeah, but
What's the
Rosenwald,
yeah.
that's
Yeah,
that'll be a historical site, because we plan on getting a monument right there.
So then you talk about we changed another street.
No,
We done changed it.
No. Pickens Street is right there when you going like where the,
or the,
Board of Ed, right there. Rosenwald It's right there down there, little dirt road behind, go behind the school. It's supposed to be there, it's showing on the map, but there's nothing there.
Oh, I didn't know there was room on that was going.
Yeah, that's what it
Yeah.
shows on the map, yeah.
Now, Brenda, are there houses on what is now Rosenwald?
It's, yeah,
It's
there's some
nice.
houses back there.
Okay, so
Mhm.
if we rename, because we're gonna rename, if we rename Pickens Rosenwald, then what do we do with the existing Rosenwald? Does it stay Rosenwald?
We're gonna exchange,
It'll be Pickens.
right,
Okay, that's what I thought. I just
right,
wanted
it's
to
gonna be
clarify that.
picking, but picking right now is gonna be Roosevelt.
Yeah, yeah.
I think if they don't, say if they don't care about changing.
No,
all
no.
this, they don't have to do all the paperwork, address change and all that stuff.
No,
I think they let it go.
There it is for the school board.
Well, yeah, and they're gonna have to, I mean, we're having a public hearing, so
Right.
they can come in and comment.
but
And
the
as well as
school
any
board
residents.
don't, right now, they don't have an eviction. No whatsoever.
Yeah, I have an email from Greg Sheehan
Yeah.
saying that he was fine with it, he doesn't see that it's any big deal.
And hopefully, by doing that, hopefully, it will be a, historical site where visitors can come and see, because there's very few of those schools still left. And the white building is the Jean building, y'all might not be familiar with that, but anyway, hopefully, you can make money, be a historical site.
Do we have any Pickens in the?
I don't know.
Name and name? Yeah, Lane, you know him?
Oh, yeah, I know, I
That's
know.
his son.
Yeah,
He lives over there,
I know where he lives.
you know,
Oh,
over there.
Slocum Street or.
Yeah, that's right.
And Pickens is his wife.
That's right.
She. I guess they will come to the public hearing. Okay.
Those people probably ain't even thought of it. Like, I don't, I wouldn't know that.
I can call them.
Right.
I'll call and let them know that this is gonna be on the agenda and see how they come.
So do y'all know for sure that's the reason why that street name is Pickens Street? Do y'all have any kind of documentation, anything showing the reason why that name was chosen Pickens Street?
I don't, but
I can look and do a word search on the old minutes to see.
yeah, but we'll research it.
You can go through wildlife or names and subdivision, from the surveyor to somebody that recorded the deed, go on down the line.
Yeah.
Still there.
You talking about Pickens?
Pickens, yes.
Isn't that just one of the county streets?
It's not,
Pickens?
Pickens is, it's not really a county street, but because the Board of Education.
No, it's a county in Alabama, Pickens.
Oh, Pickens.
Oh, yeah, it's a county in Alabama. No, we talking about a street.
Well, that's what that, there's Pike Street, Pickens Street, Monroeville Street.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Okay.
Some of them are named for, all the different reasons.
I got you. Yeah, I got you.
Well, Mary will do a search. in
I
her
got
notes, and that'll address that.
Yeah, I got you.
I'm gonna call it, yeah.
Invitation.
Okay, I figured when you walked in. Okay, so, I guess, does anyone have any other comments for our work session before we go into our public hearing?
I've got a minute or two. I did have a call last week about a business owner that has a dumpster that people are continuing to dump into. Some others have been ready to call for the same one. But,
On the park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so I just wanted to, see, I mean, is that a legal matter, or is that a trespassing matter, or what can we advise him, and what avenue to pursue there?
Are these the apartments over there by the bank? Yes.
I think the apartment folks on the other side of the street are using that one, so I was told.
And people feel violent all the time.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
They don't realize if we pay by the cubic yard, they have
there, if you don't have a security camera on it, you pretty much gotta catch them dumping it. The same issue we had at the community house. I mean, he can put up that trespassing. I don't know if he has any trespassing signs. Yeah.
Do they do dumpsters with locks?
Yeah, they'll supply the bar, but they have to supply the lock. You just give a key to us or, with the public service, the driver.
That might be good.
So then we have to get each distance.
Well, that would certainly be an avenue.
Camera probably, they
Yeah.
don't see it, man.
Okay, it's 4:55, so I would like to call on the Reverend Bill Curtin for our invitation. Welcome, Bill.
Our Father, we're grateful for the day, for safety, for hope. Our prayers for those who are without power, for those whose homes are damaged, for those who live outside our sphere and face such terrible devastation. We pray for safety for them, for a quick healing of their homes and the land. Your peace to fall across us as we prepare to deal even further with this virus along with the hurricane. Give our leaders guidance, wisdom, give us the desire and the willingness to trust and to follow. Amen.
Okay, we now have read and grade abatements, Tim.
That we have about 6 that are not done.
6 that are not complied.
Correct.
Any comments on those? We have a motion to approve or deny the abatements.
I make a motion that we approve.
Do you have a second? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. We have a motion to adjourn the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you all. A few more minutes.
Just a notification. Yesterday, the city hall only had power, therefore we didn't have any internet. I want to thank Amanda and Candace for following me to my house where we did payroll on my kitchen table using my internet and my printer and both the city laptops to get payroll done. So everyone was issued a paycheck. We didn't do direct deposit with the unknown of the internet, so council was paid as well. And all the employees received a paycheck as well. So we didn't miss payroll.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you, Mary. That's what I call an essential employee.
Right.
Very good, thank you. Okay. Here.
And Bella's supervisor.
Yeah, yes, I'll not. Hard work. It was a weird day yesterday. I didn't have anything work. My AT&T phone didn't start working until sometime last night.
Mandy hadn't been on the warpath, but we had seen only 18 moving violations.
Oh, the AT&T. Hey, Eric, you doing all right? Surviving the storm?
200 calls and complaints.
Mm. Never easy. Yeah.
Great job.
carried from these, calls and complaints, a pretty large number. But a lot of these ones that call and complain and don't want to file a report afterwards, or I hear a lot of them on the scanner, and I see what that's.
Well, too many show up.
Okay.
It's 5 o'clock. I'll call to order our regular meeting of the Monroeville City Council. We all stand for the pledge of allegiance. Salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First item is approval of the minutes. Special call meeting depends election results as held on September 1st, 2020 at noon. Work session is held on September 1st, 2020 at 3. Regular meeting is held on September 1st, 2025. A special work session, FY 2021 budget review is held on September 10th at 4. Do we have a motion to approve these minutes as written? I make a motion to approve them. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? No. Okay. This next resolution is to be postponed until the next meeting. Then, resolution 2020 and 904, rebuild Alabama resurfacing plan for FY 2021. And this is pursuant to the act, the City Council of the City of Monroeville estimates that anticipated allocation from the Rebuild Alabama Act fund for the first fiscal year will be approximately $45,150, with increasing allocations for each fiscal year thereafter. Pursuant to the act, the city anticipates expending funds received pursuant to the act in part or in whole to fund any of the following projects for FY 2021. And that's Walnut Street at $31,500 and Chestnut Street at $13,650. And that will take care of our Rebuild Alabama allocation for the first year. Do we have any comments on the resolution? I have a motion to approve this resolution 2020 and 904.
So moved.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Sam,
Yes.
on that Alabama rebuild street we're gonna pay, I'd like to keep it separate from the resurfacing completely. That way we could do it as a public works project, so it'd be under 50,000. And I can get to go together.
So how is that different from what we just said?
Well, I'm saying, but this past year we kind of mixed it in with the resurfacing project.
Mhm.
But if we totally do it separate, don't even mention it in with the resurfacing project that we actually gonna do next year. See, we can go ahead and do that whenever y'all get ready for it.
I thought that's what we just did. I mean, we just passed it.
Yeah, you passed it, but what I'm saying, this past year, it was kind of worked in with the pavement project.
Oh, I see. You want to go ahead and do this.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
keep it separate
Yeah.
and do it as a public
Yeah.
works project.
Yeah, we don't have, that's fine.
Yeah.
And that's what I was hoping we were doing. Okay, thank you. Okay, next item is to approve the transfer of the property to the IDB. I don't know how we describe the property at Sheffield Road and and the 21,500. We have a motion to approve the transfer.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? We can shepherd it all up. Documents for that. Next item is to set a public hearing for vacating Hyatt Street extension for October 20th at 4:50 p.m. You have a motion to approve and move.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Okay, next we have a set public hearing to rename Pickens Street for Rosenwall Street and Rosenwall Street to Pickens. Set that public hearing for October 20th at 4:55 p.m.
Also move.
That's very good. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Now, is Tim here? Tim, yeah. I think that you will have to notify in writing the Board of Education, and even though they verbally said that this was okay, you'll have to notify in writing the Board of Education and Judge Stinson about the public hearing to rename these, along with any resident on what is now, is it Pickens or
Resident, Rosenwall.
Rosenwall? Yeah, so that's the one you have to do.
Do we,
Because I was thinking no more about two people.
I think
Yeah.
and like the 911 office?
Yes, yes, send them a letter also.
Excuse me, do you want the parcel number back on that, transfer of land, parcel number to identify?
Now, that will do.
Is
Is it not in the deed?
I don't know what the parcel number is, maybe.
I can put it in this one. Yeah. Can give it to children. Thank you, Ronnie. Okay, okay, so next item is the community house refunds. Are these COVID?
One is related to COVID and the other one is the Health Foundation of the COVID. But we had one cancel in November, and then the Monroe Health Foundation wants to reschedule it to next year, but they have $125 credit on their account, which they wanted to go ahead and refund so that it's not carried over.
No, and it's already been carried over once.
They're just requesting the $125 credit be issued, and then their event to be rescheduled for next year.
Okay, and then what about the other?
It's requesting a refund as of September 10th. Due to COVID related issues. Looks like it was a wedding reception with the dance.
Okay, so do we have any discussion on those?
Did any of these do something somewhere else and just not here, or?
No, sir, it's
Okay,
COVID.
but I know one of them we did, they want to do something somewhere else. They still owned it, still had their hand, but they didn't have it here. So I'm just curious.
He wrote in writing, Mr. Salter, Curtis Salter, would like to request a refund due to my event being canceled due to COVID.
So we have a motion to approve these community house refunds.
I make a motion to approve both.
Second. All in favor? Any opposed? That's all I've got. I mean, that's all we've got on the agenda. I wanted to just mention a couple of things. One, I know everyone is aware that we have a lot of visitors here from Alabama Power. 700 Alabama Power people are here. They set up in a small city over at the old outlet mall. I mean, it's like a military operation. And so just wanted to publicly say thank you, Alabama Power, and I know Southern Pine also. Our linemen are out. They've had some long days. Our first responders have had some long days. And, we appreciate what y'all have been doing. Eric and Billy's not here, but we appreciate all of our people working. Appreciate our administration working yesterday to get payroll out. This has been a busy time. I'm just thankful the storm wasn't worse because I never expected it to be as bad as it was. So thank y'all for everything everyone's done. Oh, yes, I would like to say that today we had our first site visit with Design Alabama with Gina Clifford, who is the executive director, and the architect who's been assigned on our Design Alabama project. We had a meeting here, a general meeting this morning, and we had several people involved. Thelma came for a little while. We had people representing the Fazell community. We had people representing Main Street, the chamber, and the city, the museum. And our next meeting for that, it was a great meeting. We did a very in-depth community tour. You will come in here, and I did the tour, and we went all over, facing every facet of the Monroeville. And we're very complimentary about our community. So our next meeting with this is a branding meeting in Montgomery on October 27th, which we will move forward with the branding part of it, and then you'll be here November 5th, 6th, and 7th for the actual design project. So just want to thank everyone who's been involved with that, and I think it's going to be a great thing for not only the city, but I think it will be a good thing for our new administration too. So I appreciate Charles and his future involvement very much. And that's all I've got.
I would like to make a motion that we take up to 14,000 out of our general fund contingency fund to do an emergency temporary roof repair and this is one of the things to make it safe for the parents.
Thank you, Al. Do we have a second on that?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
So we need a motion one time.
Definitely, somewhere between 1,500 and 2,000.
I mean, 70 relationship to 75 chances that I think would be.
If we get about halfway between us, we'll be about 1,800. So I'd like to make a motion that we do a one-time pay increase for all employees in the city, $1,800 for the upcoming fiscal year.
I second.
All in favor? Any opposed?
Make a motion that we advertise paper for 2 laborers for public work for fiscal year 2021. Petition the vacated.
We have a motion with a second on that.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Y'all, do you have anything else?
Yeah, there's been a lot of questions. I'm not sure if y'all got any on the handle of 911 during this emergency. If y'all aware of it?
Well, the funds to
Okay, why did this not happen? I mean, they had a route on to Connecticut County in order for them to work.
We don't have a link.
And I thought that was all handled when we swapped over from the police station to the courthouse jail. They come in and made a presentation several years ago, and we put up like $10,000, $12,000 that not happen? And I mean, if we're spending this kind of money, something in this didn't sound right, always happens.
They gave us a substitute number, is what I got. But I don't know, I mean, I think that is a very good question.
I mean, it didn't sound like it, when scanners and people talking, it handled well. And of all things, we had to go through another county to make it come back and work.
From what I understand is that when the phones were redone.
The landlines supposedly were working, people had landlines.
Right, I think it was 2012 when the city upgraded the phone
Yeah.
system to a voice over IP, which means it's internet-based phone. So if your internet goes down, your phone's down. And when the police department updated the dispatch boards, it too was on the voice over internet provider. And so it's one of those that, I don't know what happened in the beginning, but I firmly believe we need to have just a landline.
Something needs to be handled different than what happened.
Even landline was down. Some people.
I just
landline-
don't have the landline connected to the internet, like have a completely separate landline, telephone line, and then if the internet goes down, we still have a landline that can support the 911 calls.
It sounded like it wasn't workable at all.
Right, it was,
And
the land,
with the police department, and y'all have that situation, do you have a separate landline? So you would need that. So that's,
even the landline
I
that
don't
wasn't
know.
connected to the internet.
Y'all.
Of course, what we have, it is separate from what the county does, so they're also.
But I remember them coming, we spent pretty good bit of money. To tie all this in, and it sounded like it got tied into it.
I think then what happened is, I mean, that's a good work there, because if you got like I got media, the media, I got the phone system with the internet program, phone system. So that's what happened. So.
But I mean, 911 now, what you can't hear. So I mean, what you do different?
Some need to fail, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of the things,
County system, whenever you call 911, it's transferred to the internet.
so
They're
they're like,
able to see what the camera sees, but it's still a transfer. Whenever you hit 911, that one is not working, it's a connect. Never call that.
so it slows down the whole emergency. So do we need to, get with the 911 people and get them to come in here and
I'm curious, what
Maybe we
information,
should
why
just-
would theirs work and ours not work? Why they transfer that way too?
should we invite them to the next work session? We should bring it up. Yeah, because I had media. It worked. Well, that's why we were able to do payroll. But we have up here, city crime, we have the police department, so I think having a fail safe, like a different provider to have a backup would be.
Is the city on, is the city on Unity Fiber?
Not yet.
So we didn't lose internet at our office at all, but we didn't have phone service because we also have phones through the city. But Unity Fiber is a lot more secure, and dependable because it's fiber. Especially in this kind of thing.
I'm curious, some explanation.
Well, we'll invite the 911. Yeah. Yeah.
If you want something maybe to, somebody to talk to, and here's some neighbor stuff about the phone, the internet, or just call my wife. She, I kid you all the time about that. I said, it's cheaper though. She said, you can't use it, so that's all. The internet goes on.
Thank you, Al. That could be a big issue. Do you have anything else, Marvin?
No, that's it.
Brandon?
No.
Anthony?
Yes, I just want to thank, Dawn, she did a very good job with the antique show. It was really, really nice. I think that's one of the best ones you can have. I like it. It's nice.
Well, I agree, Anthony. I told her I would never have it anyplace else. And we had a lot of people that were very complimentary about the new location. I was thinking that was 2 weeks ago, it's just last week. But yeah. should
There
be
was
great.
a lot of folks here.
And we got a lot more cars here because of having it out there, because there was more rain. So that was good. Thank you. Do you have anything else?
Just want to thank First Responsible over the last few days.
Okay, am I missing? Okay, Aaron? No, you don't have anything? Eric? Michael?
No, ma'am.
Tim?
I was just gonna mention that in also the same day as the car show, we had a very successful group of artists in town painting. I don't know if you saw them, they were all standing by the streets and around painting. So hopefully that'll be something, that was our first time ever, and hopefully they come back,
And that was a very nice event also.
and nothing else.
Okay. Okay. Well.
Make a motion, we adjourn this meeting. We're done. A lot of